You catch your reflection in the black glass of a subway window. Not a mirror. Worse, a tired, fluorescent version of you, floating over strangers who are not looking back. And still, there is a number attached to your face. You did not pick it, and nobody will ever say it out loud. But everyone you meet has already decided it, before you open your mouth, before you have done one thing that should count. And it is not just in your head. The men at the bottom of the scale earn about 15% less, not for a year, for life. A bigger cut than women take. The most expensive thing you own is your face, and you have never once seen the bill. So we climb it, 1 to 10, and the rung that looks like the prize turns out to be the one nobody should envy. You already know your number. By the end, you'll know what it has cost you. Start at the bottom, and be honest about it, because nobody else will be. At the bottom, people recoil. Not always, not cruelly, but you have seen it. The micro-flinch, the face that resets half a second too late, the smile that arrives like an apology. Strangers do not hold your eyes. They glance, they calculate, they look away. On a quiet street at night, a woman walking toward you crosses to the other side before she has decided a single thing about who you are, because your face already decided it for her. You learn to read rooms fast, because rooms read you faster. In an interview, you feel the temperature drop before you sit down. The handshake is polite. The questions are the same ones everyone gets. But something has already closed, and now you spend the whole hour trying to reopen a door that shut before you spoke. Dating is not rejection. Rejection would be cleaner. It is silence. The matches that never come. The messages that die halfway through. The slow education in wanting less, asking for less, expecting less. That 15% from the start of this video, this is where it is collected, at the floor, in silence, before you have said a single word. At the floor, you do not get the benefit of the doubt. You get the opposite, and no one will ever tell you why. A few rungs up, the world stops recoiling. It just stops noticing. You are not ugly now. You are forgettable. And, in its own quiet way, that is its own kind of war. Picture the guy, a 7, one desk over. Same job as you. Same start date. He is not smarter. You have checked, more than once. But he walks into the Monday meeting and the room tilts toward him. He makes the same point you made last week, and this time it lands. He gets the client lunch. He gets pulled into the room where things are actually decided. 6 months later, he has the title, and you have a reputation for being reliable. Reliable. The word they hand the man whose face does not open doors. So that becomes the whole strategy, because it has to. You remember the detail everyone else forgot. You stay late. You make the plan actually work. You teach yourself to be funny, because charm that is not handed to you at birth has to be built in a workshop. After work, it is the same game. No across-the-room moment. You are more attractive on the third conversation than you were in the first photo. You win, but you win late, and you win tired. And here is the quiet injustice of this rung. Just work on your personality is advice that always seems to arrive from people whose face already walked them through the door. But watch that other guy closely, because his head start is also a trap. He never had to build the engine. You did. And the engine is the part that keeps running long after the face stops doing free labor. This is where most men believe they live. Average, normal, a regular guy. But the middle is far more crowded in your head than it is in the room. Most men who think they are a 6 are a 5. Most who think they are a 5 are a 4. Nobody hands you the scorecard, they just react. And you spend years misreading the reactions. You can feel the exact second someone better looking walks in. The room rearranges itself without a word, and you are the furniture it rearranges around. You are not paying the heaviest tax. You are not collecting the premium. You are, simply, fine. And you have mistaken fine for finished. You are not average. You are just plain. The next level is where most men get angry. Stay with me. The room was never reacting to your bad genes. It was reacting to the version of you that you decided was good enough. Here is the part that should be printed on a billboard. For men, about half of the gap is not your bad genes at all. It is grooming. Half. Not your skull, not your symmetry, the haircut you keep postponing, the clothes that hang off you like an apology, the weight that is quietly sitting on your jawline. So you fix it. Not surgery, maintenance. You buy clothes that actually fit your shoulders. You grow a week of deliberate stubble. Your weight drops, and a jawline you did not know you owned starts to surface. The face you swore was fixed turns out to have been partly hidden. And then the world does something that should thrill you. and instead it stings. People get nicer. The barista, the recruiter, the woman who would have looked straight through you 6 months ago. Nobody apologizes. Nobody admits anything changed. They just adjust, smoothly, shamelessly, as if you had always been worth the warmth. Same name, same jokes, same you, different treatment. That is the unlock, and that is also the insult. Some of what you called genetics was neglect, wearing a scientific costume. And now the mirrors flip. That interview where the temperature dropped before you sat down, walk it again at a 7. The same room leans toward you before you say anything clever. Your pause reads as depth, not doubt. Your joke is not funnier, it just lands now. The bar where your messages used to die in silence, eye contact comes back with interest. The benefit of the doubt, the thing you used to spend whole evenings trying to earn, is waiting for you at the door like a coat check. The world did not get kinder. It is the same machine that crushed you at a 2, running in reverse, paying you with the money it used to take. At 7 or 8, looks stop being a bottleneck and become a multiplier. Doors open before you knock. And the most honest thing anyone can say about this tier is that you stop noticing it. Privilege is the refund you cash without ever reading the check. At 9, you stop wondering whether looks matter. You know. Walk into a bar and you can feel it land. Glances that hold a beat too long. The friend who gets nudged over to talk to you. The number folded into your hand on the way out. The drink that arrives from the table by the window. You are not hunting anymore. You are the one being hunted. Gently, constantly. And you get to decide how much of it to even notice. Dating stops being about access and becomes about selection. The old anxiety, the "will anyone want me?" is simply gone, swapped for a stranger one. Which of these do I actually want? You get picky because you can afford to be. The kind of woman most men would chase for a year, you turn down on an ordinary Tuesday and forget by Wednesday. This is the halo effect doing its quiet work. People hand you competence, intelligence, and trust before there is a single shred of evidence, before the work, before the proof, before the character. And that is the first crack in the gift. You get chosen so often for what you did not build that you can quietly stop building. You get so used to being wanted that you never quite learn to be interesting. You become fluent at being approached and helpless at everything that has to come after. The premium is enormous and it is real, but it pays you in attention, and attention is not the same thing as connection. A face gets you in the door, into the bed, into the room. It cannot make you someone worth staying for. And then there's 10, the genetic lottery ticket. The face that reorganizes a room the second you walk into it. And here's the part nobody warns you about. At the very top, the attraction gets so strong, it stops pulling people in and starts pushing them away. Women get nervous around you. Not uninterested, nervous. They lose the thread of the sentence. They overlaugh, or freeze up, or quietly decide you are out of their league and never even try. The best-looking man in the room is very often the one who goes home alone, because every single person assumed someone else had already taken him. Other men do not compete with you either. They write you off on sight and step back, so the admiration all arrives from a safe distance, and the space up close stays strangely empty. And then there are the ones who do get close, and come on far too strong, because a face like that does not just attract interest, it attracts obsession. The stranger who builds an entire relationship out of a 30-second conversation. The match who somehow knows your schedule before the second date. The brief, friendly encounter that turns into messages that will not stop. Then someone waiting outside your building. Then a quiet conversation with a lawyer about a restraining order against a woman you can barely remember meeting. So you get guarded. You start reading every warm gesture twice. And under all of it sits the question that never fully goes away. Does anyone here actually like me? Or do they like the idea of me? And would they even notice if someone else were standing behind this face? That is the curse. Peak looks by peak attention, and peak isolation in the same breath. A life loud with wanting, and starved of anyone who feels safe, or real, or yours. And it is exactly why the 9 so often beats the 10. The 9 got enough of a tailwind to fly, and enough friction to stay reachable. The 10 can be so overwhelming that nobody ever gets close enough to actually know him. A 9 you can reach beats a 10 you can only stare at, every single time. So the top of the ladder is not a victory. It is the loneliest rung with the best view. 1 to 10. The penalty at the bottom is real, about 15% of a career, collected in silence. The premium at the top is real too, and it is paid in attention, which is not the same currency as love. And half of the whole game was never your bones. It was maintenance, wearing your genetics as an excuse. You cannot change the shape of your skull. You can change almost everything else that is actually moving the number. Now it is your turn. Rate yourself in the comments. Honest number, 1 to 10, no decimals. And come back in 6 months and tell me if it moved.